Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me live tonight in the Bourbon Life Studios, it's the Bourbon Life Crew. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that was the wrong one.
No, that's the right one because we are a joke.
We are, oh, wow, dude. Man, I'm just not firing on all cylinders tonight, guys. I'm so sorry. Hey, everybody's here except for Christy. Christy is somewhere, where's she? Out somewhere? California? Yeah, doing whatever she's doing out there. So she's too busy. She can't even call in. You know, we can Bluetooth in, and she's too busy to call in and hang out with us. So thanks for nothing, Christy. We appreciate that very much.
Savage.
Yeah.
What a mercy.
I'm just, you know what?
Claws are out tonight.
You know what?
Her chair's even gone.
Tonight, I didn't even put a chair. I didn't put a chair, mic, nothing out for her, man. So that's it. This is the podcast of honesty tonight, okay?
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyway, guys, how's everybody doing? Philip, how are you, man?
I am doing fantastic. Glad to be back here.
Yeah, awesome, man. It's been a month or so, I guess, hasn't it, since we did our last show together? So always good to get everybody together. Matt, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a week.
It has been a week, huh?
Yeah, I felt actually I felt worse last week, man. So at least I'm feeling a little bit better this week. I appreciate you putting up with me.
That's good. A week away from me and you're feeling better already.
Now, you guys had an exciting weekend this past weekend, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, tell everybody what you did.
So Matt and I ran the Midsummer Nights Run 2022 5K. It was a good event. We really enjoyed it.
It was supposed to be a Bourbon Life Crew event, and it turned out to be you and Matt and Matt's mom.
Yeah, and Sarah.
Yeah, and Sarah. Okay, very cool. Yeah, well, good. Well,
So Matt brought home first place in his age group.
did you really?
Are we surprised?
Why am I not surprised by that? I did not know that.
Matt's mom won first place in her.
No, did she really?
It runs in the family.
I got it. I got that one. It does. I didn't know you. So your mom's a runner. I didn't know that.
This is my mom's first race ever.
You got to be shitting me.
I love it.
And she smoked my ass.
So Matt, so it's a 5K, 3.1 miles. So what'd you run it in?
I ran a low 17 minutes.
Okay, that's not too bad.
About 3.1 miles.
That's not.
What
that's
did I
not too
run
bad.
it in?
That's a little.
I was in a nice pair of black shorts.
I had some really comfy
orange
shoes on. Do you need to give a
top
shout out to a sponsor here? Wait,
Oh
who?
yeah, I got to thank Skechers Performance
There you
Footwear
go.
for
There you
hooking me
go,
up
man.
on everything with that one. I was rocking out in the Skechers, and so
Yeah.
it was a good day. It was a fun race. I'd not ever done this before. Living in Lexington for 4 or 5 years, and
Yeah. Because it's a nighttime race. Because
It
most
is, yeah.
races are like 7 a.m. or whatever. And that's 8 p.m. or something.
yeah, you can't do the Midsummer Nights Run.
Right in the morning.
Do it in the morning.
That's a good point.
So we had gorgeous weather, absolutely gorgeous weather out.
It was perfect last weekend.
Yeah. Well, sorry we missed it, guys. Philip, were you wearing your Skechers or were you wearing your New Balance?
No, I was wearing a pair of Nikes.
All right,
They are
man.
Not my sponsor. But since we're on the topic, I was going to go on and bring it up. April 1st, 2023, lace up your all shoes because we're doing the Bluegrass Distillers 5K in Midway.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's got 7 months to
But is that an April Fool's joke?
No.
Are you sure?
Signups are online.
You think it's not an April Fool's joke because what?
And this one you finish and there's a bourbon tasting at the end.
All right. Well, we might be able to swing 7 months, man. I can definitely train for it.
That might be the one to get me enticed.
Is there a couch? Is there a couch to 5K that's like a 7-month program? I
You
could
can
Step
make
one, get off
Yeah,
the couch.
There you go.
You can make a Bourbon Life couch to 5K.
the Bourbon Life couch to 5K. I like that. Like stop every 300-400 feet, have a sip of bourbon. Be like what's his face?
Jared.
From Wilderness Trail, right?
Yeah.
Takes his flask with him on his trail runs. That's a great idea. All right, Stacy, coming around to you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I didn't run this weekend, but,
Move your hand away from your mouth, Mark.
Oh, am I mumbling?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You're all muffled in there.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry, guys. All right, Stacy, I'm back to you.
The car, it ran really good.
Stacy, tell me how your weekend went.
I'm doing great, Mark. Thank you.
All right, well, good. Well, I'm glad you're here. Much better than Christy.
Glad to be here because, damn, the comments that would be made in my absence, I'm scared to hear what they would be.
You know it. All right. Our last one, Chad. What's up, man?
I just got off work.
Well,
I thought that you just wore that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, in my off hours, I am a Jehovah's Witness.
Those are Chad's pajamas.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't knock them.
Oh.
and I thought I saw your bike out front. Was that yours? Okay.
And I got my rider Nikes on.
Oh, nice, man.
Do you carry the pamphlets or do you have like a QR code that you can have people scan?
I do a QR code. I mean, Jesus wants to be environmentally friendly.
I was going to say, can I tell you about Jesus? Scan this QR code, please. And you can pull it right up. That's a good thing. All right, guys, we're killing everybody out there. But hey, I want to say thanks to you guys for being here, of course.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks to all of our listeners for listening, and thanks to all of our sponsors, of course. We appreciate all of their support. Man, let's move on to what we're going to be drinking tonight, guys. This one is it's a new one, something special, something. I don't even have the bottle. So who wants to tell what we got? Stacy, you got the bottle. Go ahead.
All right, man, I'm nervous. This is my first bottle intro. This one is Hidden Barn.
Oh yeah,
Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. For those that do not know, this is Jackie Zykin's new project where she is partners with the Neely Family Distillery and 5280. Mm-hmm. Yeah, out in Colorado.
Okay.
So this is coming in at 106 proof.
All right. So, do me a favor, because everybody knows Jackie. Pretty much everybody knows who Jackie Zykin is. Old Forester, master taster, left the job. Now she's with these guys. All right. So Neely Family. I don't know much about them at all, and I think we've kind of talked about it when Jackie announced she was leaving, and then they announced Hidden Barn. We kind of alluded to that. But do you guys know much about Neely Family?
Family.
They're in Sparta, Kentucky.
Sparta.
Up where I grew up.
They're by the racetrack.
That's right.
Well, I think we did talk about that, right?
The dead racetrack.
Yeah, the dead racetrack. We did talk about that. So I've never had any of their stuff before.
I went up there and did a tour back, I guess it was right before COVID.
Okay.
And so I think the only thing they had out at that time, they had a bunch of different flavored moonshine type things.
Okay.
Yeah,
moonshine.
I
think they had like a 2-year-old bourbon maybe at that time.
Oh, okay. All right.
But the big thing I took away from their distillery was how it's kind of like a homegrown backwoods type distillery because they started out moonshining.
Oh, okay.
And they've got a hell of a story, like their family story from somewhere down in the eastern part of the state. There was a lot of people getting shot and
really
from like the early 1900s or something. So it was
interesting.
They've got a real backwoods like moonshiner legacy kind of thing.
Huh. And now they're making legal whiskey. We assume.
How the turntables.
How the turntables. And they're opening another distillery down by the gorge, actually.
Oh,
I think
they are?
we might have talked about that.
I don't know. I did see
talked about
pictures that they were releasing. It's called like the Neely Family Mountain Distillery or
Gotcha.
Farm Distillery. Something.
Interesting. So
apparently around that area is, I think, from what I remember, is where their family got started.
Okay.
So.
All right. Yeah, I'm not familiar because I'm from. What? Hey, did you know I'm from Eastern Kentucky? Have I mentioned that before? Once or twice.
Maybe once.
Yeah, a little bit further east than the gorge.
You mean you weren't born and raised in West Philadelphia?
No, I was not.
Fresh Prince of Bourbon.
That's right, the Fresh Prince of Bourbon. So 5280. Who is 5280? Do you guys know anything about it?
I have no idea.
Are they a
group out of Denver?
They're
right?
a whiskey group. Is it like a whiskey group?
I think it's a whiskey club out of Denver, if I'm not mistaken.
That's just such a weird connection of.
I mean, I could be mistaken, but
No,
5280. That's a Mile High City.
I got
Yeah.
you. That makes sense.
That's just
but I don't know how they're connected to the whole.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I think that they invested.
Oh.
I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So we got this 106. This is their batch 1, right?
This is batch 1. So a little bit of facts here before we get into some smells.
Yes.
All right. So this produced 7 barrels. Only 7 barrels.
Okay.
Mash bill is 70% corn, 20% rye, 10% malted barley. Fermentation process was 5 days using wild-caught Kentucky yeast and Northern Kentucky aquifer water.
Do they use nets for that? Like, do they go around and catch the yeast with the like a butterfly?
I think it's like a
walk
trap,
around,
like a bear trap,
like a big bear trap.
Yeah.
It's like you catch a big hunk of
That's
yeast.
That's exactly what they do, Mark. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. I actually have a friend that makes beer, and he actually did a whole wild yeast on his back porch and used that to ferment his beer, which is actually really cool. So
Yeah, I love wild yeast beers.
but I can't imagine doing a whole.
Yeah, you can't let them inside or else they're not wild anymore.
They're domesticated yeast.
Yeah.
and that's
That yeast.
it changes the whole profile, right?
Every now and then you got to like run outside and scare them away, shoo them off, so everybody knows they're still wild and feral.
Lock
Yeah.
the trash can
You
lid.
want those
Yeah,
feral,
that's-
you want that
that's
feral
right.
yeast out there. Oh, this is bad. So this is 7 barrels blended together at, what is it? What did you say it was? 106 proof?
106 proof, yes.
Okay. All right.
Suggested retail price of $74.99.
Okay. And what was the age, did you say? Or did it
The
say?
age statement is between 4 and 5 years.
Okay. All right.
And this is a Neely Family Distillery product.
So they distilled this. It is theirs.
It
7
is
barrels
theirs, yes.
blended together. First release with Jackie doing the blending for them. So interesting. So, all right, guys, people have been nosing it. Matt, I told you, man, we're coming to you first. You've been working it. So what do you get?
I find the nose to be quite sweet. Like first thing right away, first whiff, it's got a nice aroma of sweet honey, like sweet vanilla, almost like think of those honey straws that you sometimes see at like a farmer's market where, sometimes it's not just straight honey. They add like a little bit of flavor or something to it and they put it in those little straws that you kind of break apart and suck the honey out of.
Yeah.
But then it's got something it's got like a grassy, grainy undertone coming through, which at first, when I first poured it, I didn't know if it was quite that pleasant, but I think as it opens up, it's kind of starting to grow a little bit more.
Okay.
It's almost like a little sassafras and like tobacco kind of near the back end on it as well.
Okay.
I got to say, overall, I think it's a nice nose.
It's got a nice color to it. I mean, I think in the glass, it looks nice. It's got a nice kind of amber.
Did it list what size barrels they aged in?
Not in this particular paper that I'm reading here. I'd have to look through the pamphlet of the QR code info here.
Oh.
I'm just curious if it was 53 gallon because I feel like at 4 to 5 years,
I wanted to say when I went and did the tour, that's what they were using,
That it was 53. Okay.
I'm not seeing anything here, but I'll continue reading.
but I can't.
Well, Stacy, while you're reading, why don't you go ahead and share some nosing notes with us,
So,
if you would.
like Matt, I also got a lot of honey, like honeycomb-ish vibes off of this. I also got hay.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just like fresh hay, but more like hay that's been sitting in the barn for a while.
Okay. I can see that.
There's a subtle funk to it there that reminds me a lot of like those, what is that beer strain? Anyway, it reminds me a lot of a funky beer strain.
Okay.
Can't quite remember what the name of it is.
Gotcha.
But those are the main notes I get off of it.
Philip, what about you?
Everything that Matt and Stacey have said, I agree with. To me, it's got like a kind of like that raw, almost like knowing that they have like a moonshiner's background in distilling. It's like a kind of a backwoods.
Gotcha.
Like, there's a difference like between that kind of distilling and, the big distilleries and that refined column still.
Right.
I think you can definitely tell this was more off of like a pot still.
So you're not drinking like a Woodford Reserve or something here that's got.
This is going to be, to me, like the nose is a little more grainy. It's a little more kind of edgy, like, out on the edges of.
You were right. This is double pot stilled.
Good call, Philip. All right, Chad, over to you, man.
I agree. Everything so far, that the musty hay, I talk about this all the time. I've hung tobacco, helped do hay. When I was a kid, getting that musty hay, kind of like just, the bales have fallen over in the barn. You come back a year later, it's like that earthy mustiness, a lot of sweetness at the front of it. Now that I've sat here and sorted around for a few minutes, some of the sweetness has died off. But it's almost like an artificial vanilla, like an imitation vanilla note, and a little bit of tobacco and chocolate. It's odd. I'll go in. I keep going back and nosing it. I'll go in, take a whiff. I find something is unpleasant, and go back, take a whiff, and I'm like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So
It's different.
Yeah, it's constantly, it's ever changing. So I'm curious how this is going to open up as we sit here and talk.
I'm starting to pick up a little bit of almost like a butterscotch off of it on the nose.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys detect that at all or not, but there's kind of a butterscotchiness to it that I get. And Chad, this is something I was hoping you would say this, but talking about the hay and stuff, I actually get like a pencil shavings kind of aroma off of this nose.
I can see that.
When I think about being a kid and going up and standing at the pencil sharpener and you
you
sharpen
were
it
one
and
of those
sharp-
kids that
and then
showed off your
you showed off your new clothes. Yeah,
clothes.
your shoes, and then you sharpen your pencil, but then you kind of smell the end of your pencil after you do it, and you can smell those shavings. I mean,
The freshly burned, ground down shavings. Yeah.
I mean, they did say what the char was on their barrels, because I'm wondering that you said that, Mark, about the pencil shavings. I wonder if it was like a number 2 char or something like that, like a lighter char.
I'll say because there's more. Now that he says that, I don't know if it's like the
power of suggestion.
power of suggestion or not, but there's definitely a lot more wood characteristics. Not like charred oak or anything, or toasted sugars, but yeah, like definitely.
Number 2 pencil is what I'm saying.
What's the name? What's the
Ticonderogas. That was the name of the pencil brand.
The fact that you just rattled that off with no hesitation.
That's what I was thinking, but I couldn't even fathom.
Everybody knows Ticonderogas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the classic.
It's the classic pencil, the number 2. Are you serious? See, I'm old school, man. I'm
No,
old.
Until I became confident enough to use a pen on my crosswords. It was always a Ticonderoga.
That's the rich kid's pencil where I grew up. I was poor.
There you
I know,
go.
same. We had the dollar store.
I was gonna say we had the Family Dollar special.
That's exactly what I
Oh
had.
my
You're out
gosh,
writing in
guys.
the dirt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would get like 10 pencils for 50 cents that had that plastic shit around it. So you go to sharpen it and it
Yep.
was the plastic coming
Yep.
off. Yeah, that's how you knew you're
And you
poor.
got splinters in your hand
yeah.
whenever
Yeah.
you're writing.
And then when the
Yeah.
book fair came, you got like your favorite sports team pencil.
Yeah,
Because
there
your
you
mom
go.
would give you a
Exactly
nickel.
right. That's right.
Yep.
All right, so I'm not crazy for thinking pencil
No.
shaving, but
Now it's all I smell.
is it okay?
Yeah.
But now, Chad, you're kind of you're the king of funk when it comes to bourbon.
Yeah.
So I was curious as I started nosing this. I'm like, is this going to be Chad's kind of funk, or is it going to be a little too much for Chad? So I was curious what your personal thoughts were on that.
Right now, I'll be honest, I'm undecided.
Okay.
There are some redeeming notes in here, but I don't know. I keep sniffing it out of curiosity. They're like, because every time I go back and like now, because you said number 2 pencil shavings, I'm getting that. But there are some layers to the nose. I'll give them credit on that. I'm not going to say it's my favorite nose of something that I've smelled,
Sure.
but I'm trying to work it out. Maybe after I taste it and nose it again, get that on my
It'll-
palate.
I got it.
It'll
Yeah.
open up some.
That makes sense. So, well, let's talk about a little bit of news and things going on. Of course, the big news here in Kentucky, the recent floods over in Eastern Kentucky. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I am from Eastern Kentucky, if you guys didn't know that. But I'm from Northeastern Kentucky. Fortunately, where I'm originally from, they did not have any damage up there, but my parents were from Pike County. So a lot of families suffered a lot of loss down there. Fortunately, my cousins who all lived down there, everybody was okay. Minimal loss on their part. But lots of just creek damage and flooding in their area. A lot of their friends and extended family, I think, lost a lot. So it's kind of sad, obviously, that they've had that. And Kentucky's been really hit with that double dose because we had the tornadoes back in December of last year, and now this this summer we get hit with the floods in Eastern Kentucky, and this is one of the worst floods. I mean, I remember being a kid. I think it was 77 when they had really bad flooding down there, and it was devastating. But I remember being down there and going to visit afterwards. But I've not been down there yet since this happened. But, fortunately, Fred Minnick and those guys, Kentucky Distillers Association, Fred Minnick, Bourbon Crusaders, and Westport Whiskey and Wine have come together again, and they're doing their benefit, their fundraiser to raise money for those people that are desperately need a lot of help at this point. So, if you guys, what are your thoughts on the fundraising effort, Philip?
I think it's great. I think those guys, they've obviously shown that they're going to step up when something happens. And for that part of the state, it's really needed. And I think what a lot of people, if you're from outside of the state or you just see clips on the news, what a lot of people don't realize in the eastern part of the state versus the west, when the tornadoes hit, those areas were kind of flat and they're easy to get to.
Yeah.
In the mountains, it's one road in, one road out. And so now most of those roads are washed out, and that's why they're having such a hard time getting to those people.
Yeah, it's been awful. I know they've been asking people with ATVs or any type of terrain vehicles that can reach those people because bridges are washed out. You know, a lot of the people, my cousins, I mean, people live in the holler, you know, and there's one bridge that gets you into that holler, and the same bridge gets you out of that holler. And if it's been washed out, then there's really no way to access ingress or egress. So it's been, you know, devastating, you know, getting access to people. A lot of helicopters obviously flying in and able to airlift people out, which is great. But yeah, Fred and those guys are doing a great job. It started, I think it was on the 12th, maybe. I think it runs through, let's see, today is Tuesday. I think this comes out Friday. I think it runs through Sunday. So people can log on. It's kybourbonbenefit.com. People can log on to that, and then you can place bids. And they got a ton. I don't know if
There's a lot of stuff to bid on.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you guys looked at it?
There's 8 pages worth of stuff to bid on.
It's insane. I mean, it's insane. Now, you know, the crazy thing is for that Western Kentucky tornado relief, Willett put up a barrel, a 19-year-old barrel.
Oh, wow.
And there was a group of guys that got together, and they bid $401,000 on that 19-year-old barrel from Willett. And then the guys that came in second place in that bidding told Willett, hey, if you would put up another 19-year-old barrel, we will match that. So Willett said, okay. So 2 19-year-old barrels, $802,000 just between 2 barrels of whiskey.
That is ridiculous.
It's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy what Heaven Hill Juice can do.
Right?
It's amazing.
I was going to say, that's probably retail.
I mean, but man, I mean, it's just, you know, the whiskey community is really cool. And, you know, we did fundraisers back when Western Kentucky, you know, we did one, we helped with some people doing some things to raise money for individuals who we knew. And we've not participated in any this time. I think it's just, seems like this benefit, this organization seems to do a much better job.
They're kicking ass at it.
Yeah, I know. As of like 2 days ago, they'd already raised $700,000. I think it was 2 days ago.
Well, she just showed me there's a 10-year-old Willett Rye for $82,000.
And then there's
bid.
another one for $90,000, and the one I'm looking at right now is a Four Roses Private Barrel and Premium Experience for $135,000 right now.
Yeah, and I think the bidding for that started at like 40.
I think so.
Oh,
So yeah.
wow.
This is I'm blown away.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, no, the Western Kentucky, I think they said it was, when they closed it out, they were at 3.5, but they've actually raised over $4 million for the Western Kentucky tornado relief through that benefit program. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping they can do the same for Eastern Kentucky because it's going to need it. And like you said, Philip, it's a totally different animal over there when you're in the mountains and in the hollers, and you know you can't access people.
It's a different beast all around. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a buddy who, I mean, he spent all last week going down to his mom's and his grandma's, and he's like, you know, just ask him how's it going. He's pretty much like, yeah, we're just wiping mud off the walls. You know, we're just trying to get things as clean as we can.
Yeah. And it's like no running water for a lot of people still, so you can't wash things off.
No.
You can't wash the mud out. You can't. I mean, it's sad. It's very sad. So I'm hoping that, you know, the benefit is very successful and they raise a lot of money. So kudos to Fred and KDA and Westport Whiskey and the Bourbon Crusaders for doing what they're doing. So guys, let's jump back and talk about this Hidden Barn before we close out round one. Everybody's had a little time to give it a taste. So let's go reverse order, Chad. You were the last one on the tasting notes, so you can be the first one, on the nosing. So what about your tasting notes on this?
Excuse me.
That's all right.
Actually, I thought you were last, Mark.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't
you were
count.
Well, what do you taste now?
What?
Let's hear it, Mark. We're
All
gonna
right.
go in true reverse order.
Before the
I love
second
when this
palate in
happens.
Me
Kentucky
too.
goes,
Okay.
I need to hear.
I'm actually picking up some cinnamon because on the nose, I didn't pick up any rye. You know, I was thinking at 20%. You say it was 70, 20, 10.
70,
Yeah,
2010.
70, 2010.
Yep.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, I can maybe detect a little rye spiciness or some type of rye flavor in the nose, but I didn't get anything really that I could discern as coming from the rye. But you know, tasting it in the glass, I do get some cinnamon, so I'm going to attribute that to the 20% rye. I get some sweetness, almost like a frosted flake flavor, a corn, you know, predominant with some sweetness to it, but it's kind of an odd, sweet cinnamon cornflake. But the finish, I'm not getting any finish off of it really at all.
Kind of just died.
As soon as I taste it, it's like, oh, there's some cinnamon, there's a little sweetness, and then it's just like, whoop. I mean, it's gone. And I don't know, maybe that's just me and my palate this week, because last week, Matt, I couldn't smell or taste anything. It wasn't COVID, I promise. But this week at least I can taste and smell, but I'm not getting much of a finish off of this. Now that I've gone, Chad, what about you?
Same with me. I get the cinnamon. Like, it's weird. I go to take the drink, and as soon as it hits my my tongue, I get that initial light, earthy, grain, vanilla note, kind of like on the nose, almost like a new make taste.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's followed up with that punch of cinnamon, some dark chocolate, and then just a lot of oak tannins. Like, it's just wood spice, and kind of just dies off there. Which I've taken a couple more sips, and a little bit of a dried fruit, but I think this is something that would either need a few drops of water to really bring it out, or need some air to get to it, because it seems just very tight in a way. Like, it just, I feel like there could be more here, but it just seems like everything is just.
I wonder if they proofed it down from 106, if it would change the profile, like if they put it out at 97 or 95 or even 90.
Like I'd be really curious to know what this would be like with some water. So I'll let Stacy go, and then I'm going to come back to it.
No, it's Philip.
Oh.
We're going reverse order.
Dun, dun, dun.
Man, don't throw off my game here, Chad.
So for me, it tastes a lot younger than it is.
Okay.
To me,
Got-
I get
yeah.
a lot of really strong of the corn, the corn grain, that young grain taste. And like I said, it's still just, it's really, really like kind of like raw. It's just,
Gotcha.
I don't know. Maybe some more age would help it, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Stacy, we're going to jump over to you now.
Oh, is it really my turn now?
It is really your turn now.
Okay. I'm going to be honest.
This is the podcast of honesty tonight.
I'm going to be honest. I was intrigued by the nose whenever I first smelled it, because
Yeah.
I was like, I like the funk. I like the earthy barn, scents and things like that. Like, I typically enjoy that in the palate as well, but this is just, I get the cinnamon
Yep.
on the front, but then it's just it's a little bit too funky for me. I've added
Okay.
water to it, and it falls flat for me.
Okay. All right.
So I'm interested to see what their future releases are going to be like.
Gotcha.
But overall, this isn't something that I am overly thrilled about.
Gotcha. Matt, what about you on the palate?
I've got to echo what everyone's saying with the cinnamon and the heat right up front. I think that rye is coming through that way. I picked up almost something a little herbal on the nose too, like a touch of mint.
Did you? Okay.
With some of the rye that 20%.
I was going to say like rose petal or black tea.
Okay.
Like after
could get
having
the
a
black
drink of
tea,
it,
yeah.
there's just couldn't put a word to it until you said herbal.
The palate after that cinnamon though is really sweet, and to me it's like a saccharine, almost like a fake artificial
Yes.
sweet. Like
I gotcha.
I'm picking. To me, it's like sweet mint,
Okay.
almost like not good chewing gum.
I gotcha. Okay.
Like undescript minty chewing gum. I actually don't find it to be too terrible. The finish is
It's not too terrible.
no. I'm for it for what it is. It's got a nice little bit of heat up front. That saccharine sweetness is a little bit off-putting. The finish is a touch tannic as well.
Yeah.
Some of that heat comes around. I think, Chad, your comment on black tea really hits it well on the finish for me. It's a little dry, a little herbal, but not particularly the herbal way that I like to go with things. I'm not a huge like bitter herb, black tea
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
kind of guy. But I did find a little bit of nice redeeming heat that came along with the finish too. Not super long, but some of that cinnamon and some of the spice comes through in the end.
Okay. Well, guys, we're at the end of round one here. So before we wrap it up, we're going to do, Matt, what is it? It's fixture or mixture?
Yeah.
All right. So on this Hidden Barn batch 1, would this be a fixture or a mixture for you?
This would be a mixture.
All right. Stacy?
Mixture.
Philip?
I agree. Mixture. Now, I will say, I think there is probably a market for them with this product, but I feel like if they were gearing it towards like the Pigeon Forge, no, I don't want to say like Pigeon Forge, but like the backwoods shine type drinker, I think this would be something for them.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Chad?
I'm gonna say mixture. if it wasn't 75, 80 bucks a bottle, and you were sitting closer to somewhere 35, even 40, because there is stuff about it I do like, especially with like the funky grain and stuff. There's some stuff I don't like, but at $75, this would be the most expensive mixer on the bar.
Yeah, it's gonna be unanimous on that on this one. I think it's a mixture, not necessarily my favorite, not the worst by any stretch of the imagination, but like you said, Chad, $75 a bottle. If it was $35, yeah, I'll buy it, have it on my bar, and share it. But if I was paid $75 for this, I'd be disappointed because it would end up being a mixer for other cocktails.
I think it's a good conversation bottle, but again, I wouldn't rush out to buy it at $75.
I mean, the actual bottle, your standard wine bottle with that label.
The label is gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
I mean it, and I think it was in our group chat. Someone said, it kind of looks like a wine bottle, and kind of, sort of. But I mean, I like it. You can, if you see the barn in there, it kind of, there's no other label like it. I mean, it doesn't have any crazy designs or anything. It's very plain.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, hopefully batch 2, we'll give it another round and see how that goes. So hopefully when that comes out, we can try it again and hopefully, see what they have changed, see what changes, see how the blend changes, and see what they come up with. So, all right, guys, going to wrap up round 1 here. We'll take a quick break, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with almost the entire Bourbon Life crew, except for Christy, in just a minute.
The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise right here in the heart of bourbon country. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day that features an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. Be sure to check them out online at thestavekentucky.com or at Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky. Three Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The Three Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call Perfectly Tuned Taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them together. Find out more about the whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechordbourbon.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back for round session period, whatever you want to call it, number 2 of the Bourbon Life. You know what? I'm just going to stop saying that. I'm so tired of saying that. Welcome back to round 2 of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, live tonight in the Bourbon Life Studios with my friends, the Bourbon Life crew. Woohoo! Welcome back, guys. There we go. That's what I meant to do.
That's what you were looking for.
That's what I was looking for the first time. Thank you.
takes Mark a few tries, but every time he gets it right.
Yeah, that's right.
60% of the time it works.
60% of the time, I get it right every time. No doubt. Well, welcome back, guys. How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
I think it's about to get better in here.
Yeah.
We made it through our first round. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And this round, we got a little bit something different poured up. Philip brought and I should say that bottle, the Hidden Barn, was actually sent to the Bourbon Life from Hidden Barn. So that was a sample bottle that they sent us as a media press kit deal. So we appreciate them sending that to us. So Philip, you brought something this time.
Yes.
So
this was sent to me from 15 Stars Fine Aged Bourbon. This is their newest release called Private Stock. It is aged 7 and 15 years.
Okay. So it's a blend.
Comes in at 107 proof. And I believe it retails for around $130 a bottle.
Okay. And we drank what was the other one we had before?
The 14
Timeless
year.
Reserve, I believe, is what the last one
It was a 14-year.
Yes, it was just a straight 14-year.
And that was like 200 plus odd.
It was like
50,
260,
260,
something
270.
like
It was a lot of money. I
that.
remember
Yeah,
that.
a lot.
Yeah.
Double.
A lot.
I think they're shooting for that, was it super premium
Yeah.
price point.
So what's the story? You guys know the story on them? Because I don't really know the story on 15 Stars.
What star was Kentucky on the flag?
It was the 15th.
Were we the 15th state?
Yeah. And so that's the name. And then I think it's a father and son that have they source, I believe, from Bardstown and some other bigger brands. And this is stock, I guess, that they've had that they're blending together in batches.
So they're here in Kentucky then?
All their information says Bardstown, so I don't know if they're at Bardstown or.
Okay, all right, yeah. Unfortunately, we're not a wealth of knowledge about the 15. Other than there's 15 stars when Kentucky became a state.
On their website, I remember the last time we reviewed them that didn't have a whole lot of information.
They don't have a lot of information out there. I mean, their website does talk about father and son, and then paying homage to the Kentucky as a state itself. Not necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily like a story of any particular person or thing. It's just more or less like
it's like we're not tracing this back to somebody that was around when
it
the
does
state
sound
was.
bottled. The spirit of 1795, which I guess that's when maybe Kentucky was actually put on the flag because Kentucky became a state in 1792.
Mm-hmm. Hence the brand, right?
Yeah.
That was already taken. So 1792.
I did see on their website that they've got something coming up with black corn. They had something about and they were showing the corn. It was
they're also contractors dealing with Bardstown Bourbon Company, a red, white, and blue corn mash bill.
Ooh.
How patriotic of them.
Yeah. Cue the I Am the Real American Hulk Hogan song.
Sorry, I don't have that on
You
the
really
sound.
need to have that on.
I don't have that on the sound. Matt would smack me if I start putting stuff like that on the sound pad. All right, so who wants to jump? Philip, you brought this, so let's talk about the nose on this one. What do you pick up on it, man?
So on this one, I get it's got a very sweet nose. It's not unpleasant. I do get a lot of banana fruit. It's very fruity, almost like a 1792. I don't know, like, yeast strain. If they sourced maybe some of their barrels from them, got a lot of caramel, a little bit of oak, but it's a very sweet nose.
Yeah, gotcha. Chad, what about you, man?
I get a little bit of a fruitiness. It's kind of like craisins, like you ever eat like the dried craisins. I'm getting a little bit of that. Nice toasted oak, some citrus. It's got a slight earthiness to it, but not a lot. I don't know if it's just stuck in my nose from the last thing we drank or not, but I'm getting like a grain. But overall, very pleasant nose. Your typical caramel, vanilla, butterscotchy notes.
Yep.
I'm also getting like a little bit of black licorice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy, what about you?
Well, I'm going to echo these boys here. They've hit the nail on the head, coming from my palate as well. There is getting like a subtle mintiness underneath there too.
Okay.
That's my only addition.
Did we know we don't know the mash bills.
Don't know the mash.
We just know the age. Well, it was.
And I don't think they disclosed like how much is 7-year-old, how much is 15.
I gotcha. All right, Matt. What about you, man? You picking up anything that hasn't already been thrown out? Sure, you are.
The first thing I picked up was sawdust.
Really?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's got. I picked up a fair amount of sawdust like right away on the nose.
Huh?
Maybe just because we were talking about pencil shavings last round, it got me thinking about that, but. That sawdust and oak, and then it smells to me like a vanilla wafer.
Oh yeah,
cracker. And then I also picked up some walnut.
Yeah,
on it, so it's not like that vibrant, very specific peanut, but more just like a subtle walnut, like black walnut, but a little bit of a nutty flavor to it as well.
Gotcha. Burke's Bakery over in Danville makes this stuff. It's called banana bread.
I've never heard of banana bread.
Banana ice bread.
Do tell.
I think it's
banana
like
bread. How do you make banana bread?
Yeah, banana ice bread.
Oh, I
think
thought
it's
you
what
said
it's
ass bread. I'm like,
no,
interesting.
no.
Just like Grandma
It's
used to
iced.
make.
It's an iced bread, but it's like a banana bread, but it's got this yellow icing, but it's banana nuts. So that it reminded me of the sweetness, but the banana. I mean, I get banana as well, but I get the nuttiness. So it does remind me kind of a banana nut type of bread.
But it's not like the same banana notes as you get from like an Old Forester.
No.
This is like a totally different banana.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah,
that's
so
what she said.
That stands out. But that licorice, Philip, I mean, like you said, I actually do. Once you said that, I picked some of that out as well. I'm not getting the sawdust, but I do get some wood aroma out of it.
You're stuck on those pencils.
Yeah,
But number 2, the I get some Ticonderoga number 2, maybe a number 3 on this one. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, you got wood, dude.
oh, anyway.
Speaking of wood, though,
yeah.
We had some topics to discuss.
We did. That's right, Matt.
Well, we're on the subject of wood.
Nice
Sorry to
segue.
cut you off there,
Yeah, no.
but
Yeah. Cut off my wood. That's okay.
it seems like more and more to differentiate oneself within the bourbon industry nowadays, it's all about the finishing, right? Finishing in different barrels
Yes, sir.
from who knows all where. I mean, we've kind of gone through the Jefferson Send It Out to Sea. We've blasted music at it. And we like Evel Knievel shot it out of a cannon.
Jump the Snake River
Brad
Canyon.
Paisley drives it around in a semi truck.
Highway Reserve. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. So what else can we do in that regard? So why not? Let's talk finishes. What's everybody think? How does everybody feel about it?
Well, let me just throw one out before, Chad, because you're going to jump in because this was your topic. So I want you to definitely jump in and share your thoughts. But yesterday, as I was scrolling through Facebook, I saw a new brand that was promoting the fact that their barrels were aged in a coal mine in eastern Kentucky. So their bourbon barrels are aged underground.
They're just going to get trapped down there, and we'll never get to taste it.
in a coal mine.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is their finishing. Is I don't know where the bourbon's from. It didn't have any details, nothing, the age. It's
Notes
just
of black lung.
It's just yeah. Gonna have to get an SSI when you drink it because you get black lung, little silicosis, whatever. But yeah, so that's the newest, and I would say maybe the most far-fetched that I've seen so far is a bourbon barrel aged in a coal mine.
I guess I could see like a kind of like caged aging, just because the temperature stays pretty consistent.
yeah, sure.
Similar to what they
like
do.
Makers does, yeah.
does that
Makers,
in the-
theirs stays a solid like 65 degrees or 55.
They built
something like that.
in the side of the hill. I mean, they're not taking barrels down into a coal.
Yeah, I'm curious how far down are they taking these barrels?
It did not say, so I don't know if they're.
I think it's probably like that free range chicken thing where as long as they open the doors,
You can consider it in the coal mine.
You roll it in the front door, right? And it's like, yep, we're in the mine. Yep. How long has it been there for 5 minutes? Okay, roll it out, boys.
100% white meat chicken all the way.
There. Oh man. Oh my gosh. All right, Chad. So jump in because this was your topic that you had proposed the other day. So what are your thoughts, man?
Primarily, I was having a talk with a customer at work the other day, and he asked me what I thought about like barrel finishes, and I told I love barrel finishes. It can give new life to some not so great whiskey. It can give new life to some amazing whiskey, or you can do things like what Barrel Craft Spirits does, which I'm a huge fan of Barrel Craft Spirits. I don't love all their finished products, but I mean obviously the world loves Seagrass. Mm-hmm. There's Dovetail,
Right.
They're about to release, which is probably going to be my favorite whiskey of all time. It's going to be a toasted bourbon that's finished in toasted French oak, toasted American oak, and Mizunara.
Oh.
So like, then you've got Buffalo Trace, who's aging whiskey with the old Charter series in different oaks. So, I mean, they've done Brazilian oak, they've done Chinkapin, they're doing French oak, all these crazy oaks. Then you've got places like Starlight Finishing and Amburana, which is Brazilian oak. So it kind of leads to what his point. What he was trying to make was, is bourbon getting into Scotch territory where it just is? It's like the norm to come out with a brand that's sherry finished or port finished or something like that, and now people are searching for these crazy different oak finishes to set themselves apart because finishing is becoming such a norm, even though it's by law not bourbon. You know?
Right. Yeah, I mean that's a good point because Matt, you were talking about just the funky finishes, the different odd finishes, at sea or, in a coal mine or whatever on a bus. But yeah, I mean, finishes in terms of a secondary barrel as well, whether that's a wine barrel or a rum barrel or a tequila barrel or a whatever barrel or a different type of wood or a stave or a spiral or whatever. I mean, there's so many things out there, and it seems like every day or every week there's something new that somebody says, hey man, watch this.
Yeah. You finished it in a port barrel. We did it in a double charred toasted peanut butter port barrel. I mean, like,
I mean, it's kind of crazy. Matt, I was thinking about that. What was we had Greg Schneider on last week, but the first time we had him on, we had the Righteous Blonde, right? So It was a rye whiskey barrel that was sent to
Goodwood.
Goodwood.
Yeah,
and they
speaking of wood.
Oh, geez. They put their blonde ale in it, right? And then dumped that and then sent the barrel back to Chicken Cock and they put rye in it again, right?
Yep.
So it was a rye barrel that had Goodwood blonde ale in it and then had rye put back in to it. So that was quite a Matt was not I liked it. Matt was he was not in his profile to say the least.
You don't like beer, do you, Matt?
Not a huge beer drinker. No.
Yeah,
I'm a big beer fan.
I felt like that had a lot of beer to it too. So I mean, that makes sense. Like if you're not a beer fan, I feel like you probably would not like.
Yeah.
Like that's like the the Barstown Founders or any of those. Like,
Yeah.
The beers takes on a very strong role.
So that's a good point. What do you think in terms of these finishes? Do you think that they can gear finishes toward specific drinkers, like a beer fan? So you're going to use a beer finish or a stout barrel.
Yeah.
You're going to do like the Weller beer, whatever. Or that's a beer in a barrel, but are they going to start doing that, or do they do that? I mean, do they say, okay, if you're a wine fan, if you love port wine, here's a bourbon that's finished in a port wine barrel, so this will be right up your alley, or is it just kind of a mass market to, hey, just try this because it's good?
I think it's both. I mean, because you can kind of take now. I mean, the Barstown Founders or the KBS, whatever you want to call it, is like $150, $160. But I mean, if basically I would call it like a designer finish because I mean it's a premium premium product. It's a one-off for now kind of thing. People are gonna buy it who are not beer fans, but it's really just meant for like this one audience. Like if you don't drink beer or stouts to be specific, you don't not to be a dick, but you really don't need to buy that because if you don't like malt and that chocolate and that coffee,
right,
then you're not gonna enjoy that whiskey.
Don't buy it just to flip it.
Right.
Exactly.
Don't even get me started on that. Philip, what are your thoughts on it, man?
Well, I mean, I guess with the finish, there's some brands that's solely pretty much what they do now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Angel's Envy.
Angel's Envy,
Yeah,
that's all.
And then,
Coalition, is that what it no?
Well, they have one product now that is not finished, and it's barrel strength rye.
Is it? Okay.
And then I know Nulu, it's not the only thing they do. They have a lot of unique finishes. And then
but we love Chase, man.
And then Good Times, I believe, is another one that has crazy finishes.
Good Times, Great Country, B105.
Oh my god!
Oh wow. Okie
So
dokie.
I don't know. I guess like Chase and them have done a great job of like they're known for that, and so they are kind of like Angel's Envy. They're kind of in the forefront of getting out there before everyone else. So
Yeah.
I think they have a solid place in the market. Newer finishes, it's going to get saturated just like everything else. I mean, I know you're trying to hit a market and try to bring in new people, but honestly, I don't know how many new whiskey drinkers are going to come over just because you finished it in a
Well, what's
unique
scary
barrel.
now is what Greg brought up last week is you don't have to list the age of now, you can age something for 3 years, toss it into a sherry barrel or port barrel for a year and say, hey, this is 4-year-old whiskey.
That's right.
I think that's a huge misstep on the TTB because it's kind of bullshit because you don't have 4-year-old bourbon. You've got a 4-year-old whiskey at that point. And to me, that's kind of taken a turn where, people are like, Angel's Envy's not bourbon. Well, I mean, it is. It's bourbon finished in a port barrel. But if you are taking your product and you're not age stating it, then you're pretty much just doing what do they call it? Whiskey specialty, TTB. Is that what it is?
I'm not sure.
I like that.
Asking me a legal question. What am I? Oh, wait.
A lawyer from Eastern Kentucky.
That's right. I'm a lawyer from Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Don't ask me those questions, man.
I've almost completed the diagonal.
Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
Bingo.
But to me, that's a little worrisome. Like, I feel like there should be a finish category that is specialized, and I don't, I get product is still aging while it's in a barrel.
Right.
But I mean, if, one of the brands that Philip mentioned is, people talk about because they have barrels of product that's not barrel aged. So are they taking and seasoning these barrels and putting stuff in there and they're not age stating anything? So, I mean, if they're taking 2-year-old MGP and they're throwing it into a barrel and they're coming out with it and saying like, hey, it's bourbon, straight bourbon finished in X, Y, and Z, and people are paying $100 for that, what are they paying for? I mean,
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying, man. That's a good point. When Greg said that, I was like, wait, what? Because I had no idea that that was the new rule.
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge backpedal in the progression of American whiskey.
Yeah.
And I think, that's with any of the, even like your Jim Beam or Evan Williams flavored products, they're not putting 6 and 7 year old bourbon in those.
Right.
Right.
Well, no, yeah, like
They're putting in
New make.
year-old, 2-year-old at the most, probably.
So is a lot of the finishing then, do you think it's an effort for the bourbon industry as a whole to appeal more to Scotch drinkers, to lure people to becoming bourbon drinkers? Or is it just, is this something different that we can do?
I honestly think it's trying to reach out to the flavored vodka, flavored seltzers, cocktails, because right now bourbon's hot, and so everybody, here, try this one because it's flavored, you might like it. I honestly think it's just trying to steal some customers from those that don't ever drink their products. I think where they're missing the boat is usually the price on these, these finishes. Somebody that's coming up from vodka, they're not going to go buy a $50, $60 bottle.
Yeah, right.
So
that's a good point. Matt, what do you think, man?
I got to echo a lot what Philip was just saying, that I think first off, I like it. I think it's a good idea. It's a great way to bring a whole lot of life into the industry, to provide a whole lot of a new breath, a new width to things in the industry. But I have a couple of qualms about it. One, like Philip was saying, I think it's a good way to get other people in there, but I believe, at least in my experience, and this is, I'll single myself out here. When I'm in a store and I look at something in a different barrel, and say I look at something and it's like, oh, this has been finished in a port barrel, I'm immediately thinking this is going to taste exactly like port.
Right.
And really, in actuality, sometimes you drink it and you're like, oh, I can't really taste any difference. This is still bourbon, which to me is fine because I enjoy bourbon. But if you're somebody that doesn't like bourbon and you look at that and you say, oh, well, this should taste just like wine, but it's bourbon. I've been wanting to try bourbon, but it's just going to taste like port or like wine. And so you buy it and then it tastes nothing like that. Or sometimes oh, this has been finished in an X maple syrup barrel. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to put this on my pancakes. And then you try it and you're like, well, this is actually really just 2-year-old whiskey that's been siphoned through an old Aunt Jemima bottle and tastes nothing like maple syrup. And you get super disappointed.
I believe it's called Kellogg's syrup now.
Oh, thank you.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
that's right.
That's
Yeah.
right. Sorry, I apologize, crew.
R.I.P.
And then my second beef is there's so many, walking through the selection in the liquor store now, going down the aisle, there's so many different products that have secondary finishes with different barrels: toasted barrels, recharred barrels, reclaimed barrels, old rye barrels, new rye, anything, not to mention all sorts of wines or sakes or different whatever. They're all so expensive. I want to try these, but I don't want to pay the price of what your normal offering is, plus $25 for something that could be a huge miss.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're paying for the experimentation of it, is what it is.
That's a big bottle to experiment with.
It is.
I wish that maybe sometimes they would release these in smaller bottles so you could try, or just have them readily accessible at tasting bars is, I think, a great way to do it, because it's a big ask for someone to go in and drop $75, $60,
I agree. That's a good point,
$75 on something that's been that has had a secondary finish, when that could be a complete miss and not what they're looking for. And they could take that money and easily buy 2 great bottles of bourbon
of flavored vodka, and be happy with what they got, right? So that's a good point, though, Matt.
The best company I've seen, and I can't think of who they are. They're from Washington. They're the amaretto finished. That bottle, I want to say, was like $35 or $40, and it was an amaretto barrel finished bourbon. I'm willing to spend that. I mean, it's 4 or 5 year old distillate or something, finished in that barrel for several months, and it was really good. I mean, mixed with sour, got like an amaretto whiskey sour. I'm okay with that, but like Matt said, some of these brands coming in at like $80, $90, $100 for you to try their whiskey, their normal whiskey, aged for a month in a barrel that's not going to have any flavor to it. It's just
I think, and if you really, most of the brands that are doing this type of stuff are craft sourced brands. For the most part, your bigger brands aren't near as expensive, but I think a lot of these craft brands have taken in investors and they owe a lot of money.
They owe a lot of money, so they're trying to pay it back.
And it's the quickest way to try to make the money.
Yeah.
If you know, my thing is, if you miss on one, I'm not going to come back to your next one because the last one sucked. So
Very true.
Yeah. Nope. That's a good point. So, guys, let's jump back to the 15 stars because we're almost at the end of round 2 here. So, what do you guys think in terms of the palate and the finish? So, who wants to jump in first?
We'll go reverse order. I'll kick it off.
All right, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's I think again this is like 2 for 2. I get a lot of sweetness right on the front of the palate. Really sweet honeycomb sweetness to it. Then it got kind of quite tannic for me. Like a lot of those red wine tannins, a lot of like overly oak tannins. To me, it was just like pretty drying, almost a little cotton-like in the mouth. But
So it was a cotton mouth.
something like that.
I missed the. There you go. I had the volume down.
You didn't earn it.
Yeah. But it drinks the age of somewhere between 7 and 15 if we average it out, for better or worse. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right. So who was? I don't remember the order now.
I think it was me.
Stacy.
I enjoy this. It's got that sweetness up front. It's got that like pepper. I've got like that tingle staying on my tongue, and I like that. I think it drinks a lot higher proof, in my opinion, than the 107. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
107?
Yeah, it was 100.
Drinks a lot higher proof than that, in my opinion. I enjoy the dryness of it. I don't feel like it's overly dry, but I also really enjoy like red wine and such. So that would make sense why that appeals to me. But overall, I really enjoy this one. And for the price point, I think it's a lot better than the first one we tried.
Yeah. Philip, what about you, man?
I really enjoy it. I've lost completely the banana after it's aired out. That banana licorice, it's completely gone. I agree with Stacy. It does drink a lot higher proof than what it is. I'm getting a lot of that oak and tobacco, and just you can really taste the age. But it's definitely a solid bourbon.
Chad, what about you, man?
I'm a big fan. For reasons that Matt disliked it, I liked it. I like the tannins.
Same.
That's right.
I mean, I liked how the heavy oak. And we talked about this in our group chat. I even talked about it because I did a video where I reviewed this. Looking at the color, you wouldn't think, this was over 5-6 years old, 7 on the high end. And it noses like a younger bourbon with just like a little bit of those woody notes. But the palate, man, I'm a huge fan of the palate. I think it's worth every dime of $130. I think it drinks closer to the 15-year for the price. You get some like this heavy citrus and the sweeter notes. I think are the 7-year. But I'm a big fan. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say I like it. It is tannic, Matt. So that was a little bit, after I took a couple sips, I was like, but it wasn't so much so that it turned me off. I mean, I'm not a big fan, obviously, of the tannic finishes. I don't like the cotton mouths. So, but it's not too overly tannic for me. Very sweet on the palate. Almost got like a cherry type of flavor off of it as well, which I really enjoyed. Kind of reminded me a little bit of drinking like a Elijah Craig barrel proof or something, with that nice cherry type of flavor profile to it, that sweetness, but that spiciness that blends in as well. Kind of got those older notes, like you said, Chad. I agree. I think it does drink more like an older bourbon than a 7-year-old. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. So going back to Matt's handy dandy little, which we should have been doing all for 133 episodes. We should have been doing this all along, Matt. I'm so sorry.
He suggested it early on.
Apparently he suggested it
probably episode
number 2, we said. Yeah.
We suggested running races too, but
I know.
it didn't happen either.
Whoa.
Wow, man.
Animosity.
Wow.
Man.
Love it.
Wow.
Hey, did you guys coordinate your shirts today or what?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Very nice. I like that.
It's not as cool as the
They
Selena
had a private text message group between the two of them.
Hey,
No,
we're
we
gonna
actually
wear
met in
your
person because we went to the race.
Wear your shirt today, dude.
Oh my God. Wear your Skechers, bro.
All right. So let's
Hey, Matt, they're digging at us, but If there was a fight broke out, they couldn't catch us.
I'm not gonna. I mean, if anyone wants to run from me, I'm not chasing you. So
That's
Yeah.
right.
you win.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
So oh man. So let's go.
Matt's mom
fixture,
beat you.
fixture or mixture? Fixture.
Yes, she
come on.
did.
All right. Who wants to jump in? I'm going to say this is a fixture.
Yeah, I'd say fixture.
Mark, you didn't explain what fixture or mixture was. Is this a fixture on the bar or is it a
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
mixture it
fixture
up.
on the
if
bar,
you guys
or
didn't pick up on that?
where you're going to mixture it up in a cocktail or in your kitchen sink.
Yeah.
or down the drain.
That's right.
Or
Real
some-
nice mixture.
somewhere else.
This is a fixture for me as well. I really
right.
enjoyed it.
Matt,
I got to go mixture.
You're going to mix. Okay, yeah. All right, Philip.
For my palate, I agree with Matt. It's kind of a mixture for me. I mean, it's good, but it just for my palate, it's not.
All right, I got it.
What I drink from.
All right, guys. Well, that was a good round. Appreciate that. So let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with the Bourbon Life Crew minus Christy in just a minute. Spirits of French Lick crafts their spirits using only the finest agricultural product that has defined character, following their motto, respect the grain. They lead the way in representing the quality of the Hoosier artisan distilling process while paying tribute to its inseparable past. By implementing best practices from those early times, combined with modern touches, Spirits of French Lick has created a truly unique place in the industry. Spirits of French Lick products are distributed throughout Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri, and can also be purchased online through Sealbox at sealbox.com. Visit spiritsoffrenchlick.com to learn more information and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and final round of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark. And with me tonight, live in the Bourbon Life Studios, I've got my good friends, the Bourbon Life Crew, the flights of the round, as Matt would say. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging around. Nobody left. That's what I'm so surprised and amazed and happy about.
Has anybody in the history of the Bourbon Life Crew left mid-episode?
I've been close.
Oh, after 133 episodes,
It's because he doesn't listen to your ideas, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I'm
First,
sorry, Matt.
I'm joining the Angels share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man.
Matt earns his wings.
That's right. I want my opinions to be valued.
Your opinions are valued, Matt.
They're
long as
they're
the-
just put in the wastebasket.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. They're
long as
valued as,
They
valued
go
as
straight to the complaint department.
valued as kindling the bonfire.
There's a nice little folder on Mark's computer that says Matt's idea, and it's just in the very bottom.
And it sits in the recycling bin
Yeah,
of the computer.
yeah.
I do it like a little Pac-Man game. Matt's ideas are the little things floating around, and I'm the Pac-Man. No, anyway. All right, so we got something poured up for this round, and Chad was kind enough to bring this to share with us. So, Chad, I'll let you introduce it. Tell everybody what you got there.
Yeah, so we've got rare character, single barrel rye. So cool label, cool art. I mean, I think it's freaking awesome for those of you who didn't look at it. Ta-da.
It's like somebody riding a unicorn,
a dude
right?
riding a unicorn with a rainbow behind
With a
him.
rainbow.
I'm not gonna
Are
lie.
all-
It looks like Fred Minnick riding a unicorn.
Are all of the labels like that, or are all of the labels different?
Every label's different. So every barrel pick, you get your own custom label. So Rare Character presents Single Barrel Series selected by Trevor's Liquor. This is a 6-year, 1-month Kentucky rye whiskey, 122.3 proof. It's a 95.5. Distilled in May of 2016 and bottled in June of 2022. So like when I got this, it was like fresh. Just to read the back of the bottle.
Yo, it's fresh.
Yo, fresh. Rare Character Whiskey Company was born out of Pablo Moy's love for collecting rare and distinctive whiskeys. After 2 decades of purchasing single barrels for his own bars and restaurants, he has developed a unique insight into the industry and has forged special relationships with top distillers and distilleries. They have offered him a one-of-a-kind access to their private warehouses, and for this series, Moy has found and procured barrels unlike anything else out there. This limited release showcases the time-honored traditions of American whiskey making back when products were still produced the old-fashioned way. Rare Character whiskey is for connoisseurs.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You okay with there, Mark?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, your mouth looks full.
It was the wood
Yeah.
from the last.
Rare Character
segment.
whiskey is for connoisseurs who should pick only the most memorable occasions to sip these fine whiskeys that have never been released before and will never be released again.
So basically, he's buying barrels then from places? Is
Yep,
that
just
okay?
buying them, sitting on them, and putting them out later.
What he can find, what he has been able to find, buying them and sitting on them, and
I think it's kind of like the old, like back when you could go to like Cox's grocery store has a bourbon of XYZ.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
So he's put what's the what the price retail is on this? I'm just curious.
I think they fluctuate depending on age. So some of the younger stuff I think it's a little cheaper, but I think this for a 6-year rye, I'm assuming is around probably about $80.
Okay, so not crazy. I mean,
no,
by any stretch of the imagination,
not at all.
right? So it's not $150, $170 for a 6-year-old rye or something like that. So
no,
interesting. But it is Kentucky 95.5.
Yes, it is a Kentucky 95.5. It is not New Riff. It was distilled in Bardstown.
Okie dokie.
And it's not Heaven Hill, and it is not Barton.
So it limits that, so we have an idea of who it could be. Whether we don't know if we can really talk about that though, do we?
I feel like I can say Steve Nally distilled it.
Okay, there you go. So,
and if not, Pablo, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go. So
cut that.
It's cut what? I don't know what you're talking about, Stacy.
Let's be honest. Matt's mom and dad and a couple of my wife's coworkers are the only ones listening anyways.
Aw.
Yeah, I can't even get my girlfriend to listen to it.
My wife doesn't listen to it, so
she already has to.
Well, she does upstairs.
Yeah, sorry,
She
Anita.
can hear it whether she wants to hear it or not.
Sorry.
That is a good point. So let's go around the table and talk about what we're picking up on nosing. Who did not go first? Stacy, you've not gone first, have you?
I haven't.
All right, go first.
All right. So you guys might think I'm weird, but first note I'm getting on this is Lemon Pledge.
Interesting.
I don't hate it. I actually enjoy it. And I say Lemon Pledge because it has like that.
So here's my question: is it chemically, or is it just like that super fresh lemon zest?
Super fresh lemon zest.
Okay.
But it reminds me.
Okay, so Chad's happy with that.
It reminds me of, dusting with some Lemon Pledge.
It reminds me of going into Kmart. It doesn't. Every store has a smell. Walmart, Target.
The Kmart's back home did not smell
yeah,
like
my
that.
Kmart did not smell lemon
no,
fresh.
That's
Ours
because
smelled
y'all
like
were not
kitty
classy.
litter.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Kmart in Maysville, Kentucky smells like manure.
Oh yeah.
Ours smelled like cat litter.
Frankfurt, we're classy bitches.
Well,
All right, Matt. What about you, man? Over there nosing on it.
First thing I picked up was marshmallow.
Okay.
Not toasted marshmallow. It's like a normal, regular marshmallow.
Right out of the bag.
Right out the bag marshmallow. Then I'm glad that Stacy said Lemon Pledge because the citrus. I pick up a lot of citrus, like a lot of orange zest. And call me crazy, but I get peaches.
Okay.
I get that now too.
There's peaches and like not only just like fresh peaches, but also those really great like 2 for $1 peach ring candies.
Yes,
With
exactly.
the sugar on them.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Granule
Got that
sugar on them. Yeah.
Getting some herbs with that too.
There's a touch, maybe like a little bit of mint or eucalyptus down the backside.
So peaches and herb. Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Matt and I just made the same face
Yeah,
at each
I
other.
don't think anybody got that one.
You got to be old to get it. I guess.
I was gonna say this must be like a like pre-Andy Griffith joke.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just a
That's an Aunt B. It's an Aunt B joke.
Beverly Hillbillies joke.
It was a singing group back in the 70s and 80s, Peaches and Herb. So
Oh.
anyway,
Unless we're born yet.
Womp womp.
anyway,
Mark's old. Anyway.
anyway, Chad, what about you? Let's jump over to you since I've ruined the show now.
Oh, it's okay. I agree with the Lemon Pledge, the super fresh lemon zest, the orange citrus, eucalyptus. First time I drank this, I let my girlfriend smell it, and she said it smells like herby, minty, and like there was a grass or something she couldn't think of, and like 20 minutes later she's like eucalyptus. It smells like eucalyptus.
Gotcha.
So like I totally get that. Getting see, I get like a toasted marshmallow, like there is like a vanilla cream sweetness, but it's kind of like a burnt.
It's like a brown sugary, like a brulee almost to me.
Yeah, brulee. That's the right word.
Yeah.
But big fan of the nose. A lot different than like a Indiana 95.5. Well, I mean, I'm not getting like heavy dill and grass and leather.
This is a pleasant change up, I would say.
Philip?
I'm gonna have to agree with Chad's girlfriend. I think it's got that really like. I get the citrus scent, but for me, it's pretty prominent, like that grassy.
Yeah.
Even a little bit of minty.
Maybe lemongrassy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that out there. I've smelled lemongrass. I actually know what lemongrass smells
What
like.
are you picking up, Mark?
Well, like I said, that brulee, that toasted sugar type of aroma, that really stands out to me. I do get some of the spice, the rye, mintiness comes out to me as well on this one. So that's two of the big things that stand out to me is that brown sugar or burnt sugar type of aroma.
I feel like it's getting sweeter the more it opens
more
up.
Every once in a while, I pick up almost like a tea, I guess it would be like a black tea, but not in a bad way.
Do you feel like it noses like 122 proof?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. This is easy to nose. It's very, very easy to nose.
And have we talked about the color on this yet?
No, we have not.
We have not. Who wants to say anything about the color?
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's dark.
Dark,
Yeah,
amber.
yeah. Waves of bourbon.
My one complaint about the bottle, Pablo, if you're listening, which I know you are, man.
You had to cut the wax.
Yeah, I had to cut the wax.
tell you,
There's
you
no,
had a knife
there's
to-
no pull tab. I got it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, thank you.
Yeah.
How do I get it?
Yeah, you had to do some work.
It does look like a solid wax job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only get the best wax job, Stacy.
Brazilian.
So
Oh my
happy.
God. Okay. Hey, you know what? Here's something I thought about earlier.
Wax jobs?
No.
What else do you think about in the bathroom?
I was just thinking, how fun would it be if we went around the table and just talked about what our dream, if we could work in the whiskey industry, whatever that may be, whether it's working for a distillery, working for a marketing agency, working for someone in the supply chain, whatever. If you had a dream job, what would that look like, and who would that be with? Does anybody want to jump in and say what their dream job? You know what? I will.
You're going to go first.
I'll jump in. Okay, here's the thing. I don't have a good palate. Everybody knows that, right? I can throw out a few notes here and there. So master distiller, no, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Sensory panel, person, yeah, I could be on the panel, but then I just tell you vanilla and caramel, and they'd probably fire me.
Hey, today you've said brown sugar, creme brulee.
Okay.
Lemongrass.
Lemongrass.
Okay, I threw out a few things. Okay,
Moving on up.
there you go. I'm learning. I'm trying to learn from Matt. I'm like Matt. I'm just going to say it with confidence when I start saying it. And
That's the truth.
There's no wrong answer.
pencil
As-
shavings. Damn it. Pencil
yeah.
I'm just going to
That's
say,
the
yeah,
best
you
note
pencil
on that.
shavings.
Ticonderoga, and I'm gonna go with that final answer. All right. I don't know that I'd want to be like a master distiller or a master blender or taster, something like that. I wouldn't want to be an attorney. There's so much headache, I think, as an attorney in the legal aspect of working with a brand. I just can't imagine having to keep up with the TTB requirements, everything else, the taxation, having to do all that stuff to make sure you're in compliance, HR issues, whatnot. No. So, people have said, hey, why don't you?
What's urine compliance?
That's what I was going to ask too.
No pissing in the bottles.
Good.
HR. I
That
said
got
sounds like a
outlawed
piss
long
poor
ago.
job.
Did I
I'm so
say-
glad that you said that. That was killing me.
So Mark wants to be a whiskey rectifier. Look it up in the history of bourbon.
I don't have any dreams anymore.
They've been shattered.
You know, Mark,
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Matt.
since you invited us on this show.
I actually think you would be, if I was putting together a tasting panel, I would want someone like you on the tasting panel simply because not everybody that's going to buy a product is going to be an aficionado like
Right.
Chad or Matt or, whatever. So I think someone with your style of palate would actually help quite a bit for just the average person that's going to come in and buy a bottle. Are they going to buy another one?
Yeah.
You can taste it and be like, oh, yeah, for sure. Or, no, that sucks.
Yeah. I think what I would want to do, what I think I would be good at with a brand would be like a Bernie Lovers, be someone that is a brand ambassador, the person that gets to go around, and not that I want to go out and sell the product so much, but the person that gets to go out and, talk to people and share about the bourbon. It'd have to be a brand, obviously, that I believed in, what they were doing, who they are, what their vision was. But I think to me, that would just be so much fun to have the opportunity to be creative. I mean, that's why I started the Bourbon Life Instagram, was because practicing law was so boring. And, I love photography and I love bourbon, right? So it was a creative outlet for me. And that's really how all this started, was just because I was so bored practicing law as a real estate attorney that I wanted to have some fun and be creative. So I took pictures, and that's all I did. So yeah, I think if I could find a job like that, now which brand would it be? I mean, I don't know that there's any one brand that I can say I would want to be their brand. And Bardstown Bourbon comes to mind, just because they're such a great brand. I mean, the people there love those guys. I love Dave Mandel with Kentucky Owl, and I know they're building a whole new facility down there. Dave is just a great guy. Loved him as a guest on the show. We sat here in person, and he was just awesome, wasn't he, Matt? I mean, just a super nice guy. Somebody that I really enjoyed getting to spend time with. So brands like that I think are going places and doing some really, really impressive things. I think it would be a lot of fun. And if I could work for Paul Packelt as well, I think I would, the author and spirits critic, I would definitely work for Paul if he has a place for me. So Paul, if you're listening, put me on the payroll. I'd be more happy to promote you.
You're behind me. Shamelessly, I already asked him for a job. And I'm not joking.
Well, I don't blame you, man.
I already asked.
Yeah. No, Paul's a great guy. So that's me. All right. So I went.
I feel like, though, I think you're just selling yourself short. You're already the unofficial promoter of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I mean, literally, you promote it.
You could be the face of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
You used to be old Granddad 114, then you were like, step to the side, bitch.
Well, you know what? And we got
ECBP.
I was looking at my shelves the other day, and there's like 6 bottles or 7 because I thought they were going to stop making.
Everyone did. I mean, that was like a rumor that went around for about 2 years.
So I started buying bottles. So there's probably
You've literally got enough to fill an entire barrel and make your own blend. Record Elijah Craig Barrel Proof blend.
The Elijah Craig Barrel. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg over there.
Getting rucked up.
That's pretty fun.
I need a T-shirt.
Wait, I can get rucked up. Well, I appreciate that, Philip, very much.
That'd be a great name for our next single barrel.
Get rucked up. There will not be another Bourbon Life single barrel.
Don't say that.
I'm done.
What if you get an ECBP?
The one that sold through Liquor Barn did well.
What's that?
I said the one with Liquor Barn.
Yeah, that one went out fast.
Well, yeah, I mean, because we had Liquor Barn behind it. I mean, that was
okay. Well, then don't say there will never be another one because that's a lie.
Never say never.
All right.
Call Brad and let's get it set up.
Oh, Bradley.
Hey, I'm just going to tell you the sticker on that 1792 foolproof. It does say it says Liquor Barn, the Bourbon Life, and it says what it say barrel number 1, right, Matt?
Mm-hmm. Barrel number 1.
First of many.
To be continued.
They're exactly right. All right. So who's going to go next? Anybody want to talk about what their dream job could possibly be in the whiskey?
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
Everyone thinks like, distilling would be a cool job. And as someone who dropped out of school for engineering and has I think science is cool. I could not do science. My day-to-day life could not be just, is this chemical compound reacting correctly? Is the temperature right? Is it doing this? Because honestly, to me, that's not a fun job. Like people, today, distillers on a pedestal, and I mean, they should be. They're they're creating shit, but that's just not for me. I think a tasting panel would be fun, but I think what would be cool is something like what Nancy Fraley does, who's just, or Ashley Barnes or Marianne Eves, where you are working with multiple brands at one time. You're doing blends,
consulting type.
Yeah,
of
and you're creating things.
Yeah.
You're not doing the same thing every day. You're not working with the same brand every day. You're not creating the same 2 products every day. I think that would be fun because at the same time, if I wanted to talk about a product, I wouldn't be stuck to just one. I think that's hard for me, and that's what makes liquor retail so fun. Is I don't have to just talk about one product. It really sucked for me to be like, Eagle Rare is the best thing on earth. I like Eagle Rare.
Right. Yeah.
You should drink it. That's not me.
It's Blanton's.
Blanton's is the best thing on earth.
Philip knows that Blanton's the best bourbon out there.
But
it's worth the hype.
I think consulting would be fun, and it would be cool to work with multiple brands, and because you can tell their story, you can help them craft the product they want to craft, and helps create the brand that they want the public to see. And that's what I think would be a fun future. I don't really know if there's any money in that, whether or not there would be or not. I think that would, if I could leave my job today and someone said, "Hey, help me create and blend and tell my story," I'd be like, absolutely.
You do that part of it. I'll do the marketing.
There you go.
And all that crap, and that'd be the perfect consulting group right there. You can handle the blending. Tasting.
And I'm ordained, so we can marry people while we're at it.
Oh my God.
This is awesome.
That's terrifying.
We've got it. We got it covered. Stacy, come on, tell us your dream. What's your dream? Everybody's got a dream.
What's your dream, shall we?
Right.
So I really I geek out on like just putting together like little tastings for my friends and just giving them like little bits of education. So I think that and that's something that I did in my previous job, was putting together instructional materials for people. So I think that would be really interesting because I feel like there's a lot of vagueness. You all right over there, Chad?
Keep talking.
Okay. Anyway, I feel like there's a lot of vagueness out there in the bourbon and whiskey industry. There's not a whole lot of educational materials that come out. That's something that I think that Bardstown Bourbon Company does really well. They do like that distill it to mature it kit.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Super
right.
cool. And you were on one of those tastings with me actually before I became a part of the crew. And I thought that was really cool. It was really informational. Gives them a sense of empowerment to feel like they can like go and talk about the product to their friends too, and it gives them a little bit more background of where it starts and where it finishes. So I think that would be a really cool job.
Very nice. All right, Matt, what about you, man?
I think I might have two.
Okay, that's
things
fine.
I would really like to do. First off, I would love to be a barrel broker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That just seems
nice,
like
man.
the most awesome job, to just have a big supply of barrels from a bunch of different distilleries.
Yeah.
And have people reaching out to you that want to create a brand or create a blend or create some sort of product, and to help work with them.
Yeah.
To go through your inventory, or to help find them, and to work together to get the product
Matt's
made.
always thinking outside the box.
I was just going to
That
say,
they
man,
will.
I would not
brand,
have
and Matt's
even,
like, I want to own all the shit.
I want to drink bourbon every day. Matt's like, I'm going to have all the barrels that you're going to have to buy for me to taste that shit.
Well, just think, I think it would be really fun and really rewarding for someone to come to me, whomever, with an idea.
It's rewarding. I'm just going to tell you.
And
Go ahead.
Matt, or Mark, here's a cooling towel. You need to calm down.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt. We're on air.
the other thing I would really like to do,
Start a new podcast.
yeah,
Get a new
thank you,
co-host.
Philip.
Find a new co-host. Join the Angel Share.
Get a new crew.
Yeah,
Yes.
earn my wings. Finally.
There you go. There you go.
Get on the angel share.
Your wings are already earned.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a single barrel program manager
Oh, yeah. That would be cool.
and see people get really excited about all the different things. Get to go through warehouses and rickhouses and just pick out really unique, crazy, off-palate things.
Yeah.
And provide those to people to just scour like the depths and the seas of different buildings just to see what's out there.
Because, Matt, I mean, when we did that pick with What's-His-Face down at Wilderness Trail, and you got the drill and had carte blanche to run through the rick house, you did a really good job of pulling out barrels and drilling and tasting. And
Hey, I mean,
you would be a master at that.
yeah, don't give me a drill and tell me not to go to town.
Do not put Matt in a rick house with a drill. But you did a good job. So, yeah, I could see you doing that, Matt. But nice call, man. Two things I would not have thought about. But, yeah, very cool. Philip, what about you, man?
I mean, I think y'all can probably guess. I would like to be in the distilling end of,
Sure.
but I would never.
Shocker.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm so surprised.
I am too.
I would never go to a major distillery.
Gotcha.
I feel like I would want to be somewhere small where I could experiment and try different things. You know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't,
Right.
no big deal. I mean, obviously, I know there's a lot of money tied up in that, but
Sure.
more of the small scale distilling, I think, would be in my wheelhouse. But I would agree with Matt. Like being a barrel broker, that would be a fun job.
That would be pretty cool, Matt. I hadn't even thought about that, but
The single barrel thing. You would kill that.
oh, yeah, you would.
You would kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with being a barrel broker is people be like, we know you got more older stuff. Give us the older stuff. And
And then he'd be
Everybody's
like, give
coming
me
in
a good
saying-
idea.
It's like working in a liquor store. Everybody comes in and is like, where's the pappy? And Matt's like, I don't have any pappy.
Yeah.
You're like, come on. I know
Chad's
it's-
like, I don't have any.
It's in the back. Where's the pappy, Matt? I know you're
You gotta
holding
talk
out
to
on us.
Chad.
Yeah.
He's holding all the pappy.
Yeah. That could get a little nerve-wracking, I think, after a time. People can constantly asking you, where's the best stuff? What's the best stuff? but still really cool. I
But
mean,
if you don't have to go through the best stuff to get people what they want, maybe the best stuff isn't what fits their palate and their profile.
yeah, that's a
right?
good point.
That's beautiful.
Stacey.
It was.
It was beautiful. All right, guys, let's jump back over to this rare character. Let's talk about the palate and the finish on that one. So who wants to, Philip, jump in there, man, as you're taking a sip. You can just, there you go. Wash it down.
It's very spearmint.
Okay.
I don't get a lot of spice. Like I get that mint and like a little bit of the heat from the proof, but it still does not drink like it's 122 proof. I mean, honestly, it drinks like it's 90 to me.
Yeah.
But it's got a nice oily mouthfeel, but very, very mint forward for me.
Got you. Stacey, what about you?
I agree completely. I'm still shocked. This is what, 120, what'd you say it was?
122.3.
Yeah, I would say at most like 105 to
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I got a lot of spearmint on this also. Really nice mouthfeel, really coats the tongue.
I'm going to have to try just a little bit more.
Go ahead.
I am a big fan of this, actually. So thank you for bringing that, Chad.
You're welcome.
Delicious.
Matt, what about you, man?
I'm loving this through and through.
I figured you would, man.
And I guess I'm probably the only one, but I think it does bring the heat.
Okay.
I get really nice, bold bouquet of peppercorn and heat right up front. Then, like everybody is saying, kind of leads into some of those mint characteristics, some sweetness from some honey. Man, does it have a bold, oily mouth?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
It feels like I'm eating this, not just drinking it.
Yeah, you could chew it.
Yeah,
It really coats your mouth. It's very good.
does a
Yeah.
great job of that. And then the finish, after you get it down, you wait a couple seconds, and that finish, that spice, it stays, it lingers.
Revisits, man, and you
Yeah.
get that tingle, the tongue tingle.
This is excellent. This is one of the better I've had in a long time.
I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
This is grown up chicken cock, man.
This is.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
we had Greg on the show. We were drinking. That was about 2.5-year-old that we had, the rye, which was from Bardstown Bourbon.
Yeah.
So we're thinking that
That's only a 2.5-year-old product.
What we have.
what we
they're
have,
now-
because
they're now doing 4 years.
yeah, because
Okay,
we had Greg.
okay.
We had Greg on the show. It was 2 years ago.
I haven't got to listen to the episode.
Well, that's okay. Nobody else.
I
except
listened to
Matt's
the
mom.
first episode. I haven't got
listened
to
to
listen to
All right, thank you,
to
guys.
the most recent. Sorry.
It's like a grown-up breath mint.
There. Oh,
yeah.
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 It's really good. So
It is solid.
And it's funny because, sometimes I see bottles and I'm like, what's this brand? It's another brand that I don't know anything about. And they've,
Yeah, honestly, I would have looked at the label and been like, I'm intrigued. I would probably hold on to it and I'd be like, I don't know enough about it, and I'd probably put it back on the shelf.
yeah, I think you're probably right.
Do you have a Chad's suggestion sticker at Total Wine?
No, but they have Fred Minnick.
So we
Did
don't.
Fred
we-
Minnick pick this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I have no
Fred's,
His
Fred's
face is
choices.
on the bottle. That
This
looks
is a
just
Fred,
like
Looks just like Fred riding a unicorn.
Fred running
Wait,
off
Fred
into the
knows it.
sunset.
We don't have a barrel pick of this, but I've been talking to Pablo, and I think I'm gonna go down.
Pablo.
I'm gonna go down to his warehouse, and he and I are gonna.
Pablo.
I think
He
Chad
talked about
needs to
that.
invite
Don't
his
Don't get
friends.
with it.
Yes.
But
Yeah, is that the next outing?
There you go.
Screw this 5K crap. I'll go to the
Yeah, that's right. We will all quit running.
We'll run through the Rick houses, man.
All right. Now I'm on board.
There you go. Now I'm on board for training.
Yeah.
Couch to 5K, couch to barrel pick.
No, but this is killer.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'm gonna go back to Matt's fixture or mixture, but I have a feeling I know where everybody's gonna land on this one. So show of hands for fixture.
fixture.
Yeah, that's unanimous.
Yeah, Matt, Matt. You're Chad, aren't you? Chad's got two hands up on that one. So
That's Chmat.
yeah, Chamat. Good to see you, Chamat. All right, guys, we're at the end of round 3 here. We wrapped it up. We did it. That's awesome. And even, man, we made good time on this one. That's great. Appreciate that.
So who should we tag in this to make sure we get our jobs that we want?
I don't know. That's a good question, man. So if anybody, they can always email us, right, at thebourbonlife@gmail.com and
sure
say,
can.
hey, I want you. Here's the ideal job.
Yeah, email all your job offers, everybody out there. To bourbonlife@gmail.com.
or you can email mydailybourbon@gmail.com.
Or Bourbon Hunting KY
Or-
on Instagram.
Yeah, I was
or
going to say.
the Angel Share
Or
podcast@gmail.com.
Or you can check out Freckled and Charred on Instagram. Or
You could.
Bourbon
That
Hunting
girl,
KY.
I've heard she's a little crazy.
Well, the one in California is for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, since she's not here. Yeah. And My Daily Bourbon on Instagram. Matt has no Instagram, but we share the
We should
Bourbon
make
Life.
him a fan page Instagram.
We should. yeah. Matt,
we talked about that.
I know.
But we need to really make it happen.
I gotta wait for Matt to tell me it's all right to put his picture on Instagram.
No, we could just make him a mystery man, because a lot of people know what he looks like from the posts that you put on there, but you could make him like a mystery man.
There you go. Nope, too late. I put his picture out there. Whether he wants it or not, it's there. So, all right, guys, before we wrap it up, any final thoughts you want to share? Anyone?
I really hope that you guys get the jobs that you want.
Thank you, Stacy.
I appreciate that. That's meaningful.
Likewise. I don't want to keep doing this podcast.
Hey, I will go ahead and tell you you're hired on the Angel Share.
Wow.
Welcome.
Okay. Yeah.
Mark, you're out.
I appreciate that. Thank you all very much. Very kind of you guys.
Just kidding.
Philip, anything you want to, daggers you want to throw my way before?
No, I think I've thrown enough.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think I'm good. I had a great time tonight. I enjoyed everything that we had.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for bringing to share. Definitely appreciate that very much. And of course, speaking of appreciation, we appreciate all of you for listening, putting up with our banter and mindless whatever. I don't know. I should probably go back and edit some things out of this show, maybe.
Out of this show, out of all the shows, you're going to pick this one to edit stuff from?
If
No, we were on fire tonight.
we're on fire, we're leaving it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to give a personal apology to Matt's mom if she's listening for anything that may have offended her. So, other than that, though, we appreciate all of our listeners. We thank you guys for all you do for us. We wouldn't be here without you guys. I appreciate you, my crew members. Thank you guys for being here again, month after month. You guys make this a lot of fun. Today I just didn't feel good, but it never fails. Once I start recording, have a few drinks, man, it's just like everything just feels
It's the
like
drinks, guys. It's not us.
No, it's
Once
not.
he hits record,
No one
it
likes
just
us.
has drinks. It's not the people at the table.
That's not it at all. It's the camaraderie and the fun. So I really appreciate it very much. So you can check us out at The Bourbon Life on Instagram, also on Facebook, The Bourbon Life, our private Facebook group, The Bourbon Lifers. You can email us at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. Send those job offers our way. Please do so because we're all tired of doing the I'm just kidding.
Shoot us a DM.
That's right. Shoot us a DM if you'd like to do that. That would be great. We appreciate all of our sponsors. Thank you all for everything you do. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up. Send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full. May you keep on living the bourbon life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.